A lot of work has been done over the years to get us to where we are today. And depending on what the minister was referring to, the one thing that will be a condition to make that happen would be that the privatization exercise has to happen. If that happens, then I can guarantee that a lot will happen to get us to 2015 and to get us to where we want to be. But I think the key thing is that privatization must happen.
Now, what are some of the biggest obstacles facing the reform measures taking place within the power sector? We hear a lot of talk about generator companies. What are your thoughts on this, and how do we overcome these obstacles?
Obstacles are process obstacles. Now, over the years, we've had the issue where privatization has been talked about a lot. The process has happened, the process has been ongoing. We need timelines. Now the government has said that by the end of this year, the privatization exercise will be complete. I believe it because I'm part of it and I can see it happening. But it must happen. If anything delays it, then the whole timetable is going to be out of the window. So they need to drive that. I just think it's that process, it's that ability to make things happen when you say that they will happen. So if you say by June the RFP should be open, then June it should be open. If you say that you're going to privatize by September, then by September it should be open. We now must start working very strictly to the timelines that we set. If we can work to those timelines, then we'll be able to achieve the targets that have been set.
Now, talking a little bit about distribution and increased tariffs, there seems to be growing sentiment that the private sector has the monopoly on these. You're a private sector company. What are your comments on that? Do you think it's true?
I don't know about the monopoly, but it needs, first of all, do we need to increase tariffs? Yes, we do. We need to increase tariffs. You have to bring in private sector into this business. Without the private sector, it's not going to work. That's a truism today. The tariffs have been very low. People were not paying tariffs. People were connecting onto PHCN power without going through the system at all. So there's been a systematic abuse of that system. Now that has to be cleaned up. The private sector has to come in, it has to work. I'm in total agreement with the increase in tariffs. It may be difficult for some people to pay, but it needed to happen.
Now, talking about renewable energy, what changes are we seeing in that sector, and what role is Sahara playing in that sector as well?
Not enough. Not enough as far as Nigeria is concerned today. I think it's still because we find that we get gas. Well, you can get gas, there's an abundance of gas, you can get it cheaply. We have fuel coming out cheaply. And so renewable energy is not something that we have pushed. Now, for renewable energy, it's an expensive process, but it's a process that government has to give certain, should I say, they have to, not just guarantees, they have to make it available, they have to make sure that people can come in and that they would get concessions on that. I don't think that's been done enough of. We need to do that and we need to drive it. If you can get that, then you will find that private companies then will be willing to spend money to go in. Waste to power is one thing that is not done enough. You need to do that. Solar energy is something that can be worked on. It's not worked on enough. Wind power is something that should be worked on. It's not worked on enough. For private companies like myself, we would always weigh against can we generate good income out of this? What are what's the incentive to drive us into that? I don't think there's enough incentive right now in renewable energy for private companies to come in and spend the kind of resources that they need, and that's what's slowing it down.
Now, finally, can I just get your projections for the power sector by the year 2015? Where do you think we'll be? What do you think we'll have achieved?
Okay, if we go with the trend of what we're seeing, with the discussions that we've been having with BPE, with what the minister has been saying and the discussions that he has engaged with the bulk trader and all of that, I'm very confident that we have come a long way compared to where we were. So we're actually on the right path right now. The minister is driving in privatization, has sunk in as a way to go forward. The IPPs are being empowered, so it's working correctly now. Now, as a projection, if we keep on this, and I would go back to the fact that if we do privatize today, distribution and generation, and we can get that done this year, if we can get that done this year, in 2 years you would not recognize Nigeria again. That's what I believe, because a lot of people it's like the horse is ready to roar, it's ready to leave the stable, where we've been waiting for a long time for the enabling environment to be put in place. If that is done, 2015 definitely would have a lot of people coming in. There's some lead time to get power into play, but the fact is that you have some IPPs that have been done, they're there, they're sitting down. It's just commercial negotiations. Can we bring gas into play? Can we connect? Can we do the distribution? Can we get the substations in place? But plants exist. So 2015, my projection, if the privatization exercise goes through this year, 2015 will be a totally different year for us.